Hi, I'm Teri Jones, and I have been also teaching art for quite a long time. I started with the alcohol inks, and then Laurie started with she introduced me to gel plates, and then I kind of went off. So I am really enjoying the gel plate experience, and I have been teaching it now for a couple of years. I do mostly, I teach at my mixed media classes that I give either around the country or at John Campbell Folk School. And I also have a studio here where I do private classes.
Oh, so anyway, if everyone's ready, I'm going to switch my camera to my workspace so I can talk a little bit about the gel plate. And the first thing that we want to do tonight is just for those of you who may not be familiar with a gel plate, understand what it is, what it looks like, and kind of how it works. And then we'll start off by doing some simple pulls, and then we're going to introduce some stamps and stencils. And then I'm going to actually walk you through what the course is going to look like. That won't take but just a minute. And then we're going to jump back in and do some texture printing with using some subtractive tools. And then Teri's going to do like a simple layer demo. So it'll just be a quick sneak peek of what you'll get in the course, but the course is going to have, like I said, it's going to be jam-packed with a lot more than we can possibly cover in the next 45 minutes. So anyway, let me switch my camera.
Okay, and for any of you out in the audience, in order to see it as large as you can, up in the far corner, there's a little crown that says view, and make sure that you have it in I think it's speaker view.
Speaker view, yeah.
Yes, because
that's part of the reason I left it on panelists too.
Right.
It's so that everyone could see it the way we see it. And I think that we have it that way. Okay.
Yeah, if you have it in gallery view, you'll see me watching Laurie do this,
Okay, so let's just start off by talking about the gel plate. So this is what a gel plate looks like. It is it's made of gelatin, actually literally made of gelatin. But these are manufactured ones, meaning they are created by and mass manufactured by one of several different manufacturers of these gel plates. They do have the store-bought ones do have a plastic-like texture to them. They are more durable than some of the homemade ones. So for our course, we're not recommending you make a homemade gel plate. We're not gonna include a recipe for creating one. If you're interested in trying that, good luck. There's a lot of videos out on YouTube. I recommend spending a little bit of money and buying a basic 5x7 size. They do come in multiple sizes, and just a 5x7 size so that you can use it. But it's very squishy, that for lack of a better description. It's very squishy, sticky-like, and it will actually, what's beautiful about it is when you put a medium on it, it releases it. So you may be familiar with traditional printing, mono printing, or even lithograph printing and all these other types of printings, making techniques. A lot of require a lot of equipment and that sort of thing. But the gel plate allows us to create beautiful mono prints using just this little tool here. You want a brayer, this is a brayer. This is what a brayer looks like. This is how we put our mediums down on the plate. And then you want to have some sort of paint or medium to work with. I recommend, if you're just getting started, using just basic acrylic paint. Some of my favorite are the Deco Arts Americana brand, but any craft paint can work. I also use Liquitex a lot. I use Liquitex mediums. I use Liquitex colors. These are a heavier body. So in the course, we're going to dive into the differences in viscosity and how they work differently on the plate, and when you would want to use one type of paint over another. So we're going to dive deep in that in the course. But today we're going to work with a bunch of different ones so you can kind of see how that works. There are two major brands. One is Jelly Arts and one is Gel Press. Those are the two that you see most of the time. There's another one, Speedballs. They have a gel plate, but I'm not fond of Speedball gel
It
plate.
does not work.
They don't work as well. And there's some other brands that I've tried out there that don't work as well. If you stick with the Gel Press brand or the Jelly Arts brand, then you should be good. I think Ranger might make one too.
Yeah, I have the Dyna Wakely
Okay.
gel plates, and I'm happy with them.
Okay, yeah, so that would be our advice, instead of trying to go cheap and get, save a couple of dollars, save yourself some headaches and go ahead and pick one of those major brands. You're just gonna have a better experience with it, and you're not gonna get as frustrated. Other things that you would want, supply wise, I often use a Baron, and that's what this is, and it just helps me smooth the papers. And speaking of papers, you can use all sorts of papers. Tonight, I'll be using regular copy paper, and for the purposes of this demo, but you could use watercolor paper, mixed media paper, deli paper, tissue paper. There's all sorts of substrates. And we're even in the course going to do projects where we're going to print on fabric. So we're going to use fabric paints to do gel printing on fabric, which is going to be a really fun project that we'll be doing towards the end of the 8 weeks. And that's going to be fun and exciting. We're gonna have some fun with that. Teri, what did I miss?
You didn't miss anything. I think you can do it on canvas. I have a project to do it on a canvas that I've recently done.
I haven't tried that one, but we will.
There's secrets to it, Laurie. We're not going to give away the secrets this early.
Right.
There's definitely secrets.
Okay, so what we want to do to start off is we want to do, I just want to talk about like doing a simple pulls using the gel plate. And that is just really simple. It's as simple as putting down a couple of drops of paint, spreading it on the plate, and then pulling it up. And it can create, just doing that can create a fantastic background. And I think what I'll do is I will use a yellow, and then like this satin color here, it's dark scarlet, and we'll do kind of a blend on the plate. So I'm going to drop a drop down here, and you don't need a whole lot. You only need a little bit. And then I take my brayer. Now I work with 2 different brayers because I like to do a lot of image transfers. There are a lot of different things and approaches you can use with image transfers, and I'll talk about those in just a few minutes. But I usually have one dedicated to the black or a darker color that I use, and then the one that I use for my other colors. So what I do with the brayer is I just roll the paint onto the plate, and I just spread it out. And this paint, the viscosity of this paint is very thin. You just shake this a little bit, make sure I've got it thick enough. I need a little bit more, but you don't need a whole lot, because if you put too much on it, the brayer starts sliding around a whole lot, and it just becomes kind of a problem. And you can clean off, I have a clean off paper here. You can clean it off on a sheet off to the side. And when you're not using your brayer, you want to store it on the back side. These brayers have like a back side. You store them facing up. Otherwise, the acrylic paint especially dries very quick, and it will adhere to the paper that you're resting it on, and then you'll have a mess. And I want just a little bit more of this yellow on here. Not much, but I'm going to come in here and spread that out and blend that in down here. And then we're going to do a quick little pull. So I just have a piece of regular copy paper here, and I'm going to put it down onto my plate, and I use my hand, spread it. And what I want to do is make contact completely around the plate. And I apologize to those of you who have been doing this for a while. This might seem a little boring, but I just want to get through the formalities and make sure everyone's on the same page before we do a little bit more advanced printing tonight.
We do have 2 people that have never done it before.
Oh, good.
Yes.
It's just, let me tell you, you're in for a treat if you try this. It is so addictive and so fun. You'll have so many prints. You'll definitely need to take the course, because you'll need to know what to do with them all. That's usually the question. What do I do with all these things? So anyway, I put the paint down, I put my paper down, I can take my brayer if I want. I'm sorry, Baron. This is a Baron, and it helps you smooth it and make contact completely across the plate. Again, you can use your hands for that, so you don't have to have that's an optional tool. And now all I do is I pull back. And you can see the texture. Now you can see that I got a bunch of gunk on here. That was on my plate before, but that I was able to clean it off. But I have a really nice grungy looking background now. So I can actually come in and do another layer on top of this, or I can use this as a background for another art piece or in collage. So that's just that's the very basics of doing a very simple pull. So what I was thinking, Teri, is maybe you could do a quick demo on using how you would use stamps and stencils.
Okay, I will do that.
Okay, and that's kind of, so there's two different methods. You can add texture and interest to your plate by adding, but you can also, once you have stuff on it, you can subtract it. And so Teri will actually be demonstrating both of those a little bit in what she's doing. I'm gonna spotlight you or highlight you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're big on the screen for everyone.
Okay, and I've got to come down here and make myself bigger on the screen because I obviously have this. I thought that I had it much bigger, but I don't. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this thing to work. Where are you with my Logi capture? There it is. Okay, let's see. Ah, there it goes. Okay, so that's much better. So here's my gel plate, and just like Laurie's, very wiggly, and I put mine usually on a piece of glass just to hold it down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a basic beginning of things you can do using stamps or stencils. So I'm going to go and just put a little bit, that's a little bit too much there, but hey, I'm going to put a little bit of paint on my thing here. And what I want to do is I just wanted to get a little gradation of color between the blues. I didn't do a really great job of that, but I'm going to wipe it off here. Now, I have a variety of tools that I can use. I can use stencils and pull up images. So let's just say I wanted to do something here and I wanted to put some stencils down. So I can put a few different stencils down and then I can pull up from it. So I'm just going to kind of throw some shapes in here and pull up. So now when I'm trying to pull up, frequently what I want to use is a tissue paper of some sort, because trying to get in all of these little lines is very difficult. So here, and I got, oh, that's fine. It looked like my sheet wasn't going to go all the way down. And I have to be fairly quick about this because this was a very thin piece. But I am pulling up here on this piece of paper these designs from these three stencils I used. And so then I will end up with some kind of a design on my plate. So you can see that there's a design on the plate. Now, one of the things that I've done before is just the very simple, you can put this back down again, basically in the same place. And what you'll get is the ghost print. You'll have one that's really dark and one that's kind of light. So you can see that you get a very, I don't know if you can see that, you get a very textured print out of that.
Pretty.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that's really pretty.
It is. I like that. So then again, and I can keep on, I don't spend a whole lot of time cleaning my plate because I really do like having a bit of, different colors and maybe some grunge on here. So I might come here again and I still have a little bit of a ghosty print under all of this.
And that's the other thing that we're going to learn about too is ghost prints and how to
Ghost
use
prints,
them strategically.
Right, so I've got now another layer of color here. And I can also take a lot of different tools that you can just get from your house. This is from a tangerine thing. And can you see where I put texture in there? I might want to put a little bit more of that texture in this corner here. This is one of my favorites, this is drywall tape. And it's putting some texture in there. I can take just a little, this is an empty, I use it for alcohol inks, but if I move it just a little bit, it can make interesting circles.
So yeah, so what Teri's doing here is a little bit of the subtractive, where first is the additive where she added the paint, and now she's subtracting areas of interest by using different found objects.
And I love different found objects. And there's even this one is the cardboard. So I might just put a little bit of some lines with the cardboard. And now, while this is still wet, I will take a pull off of it. Again, today I'm using tissue, mainly because I'm doing a collage project. But the second reason is it tends to dry fast. So I don't have to give you a lot. So this, you can kind of see through to what the print is going to look like.
Do you want to talk about the glass trivets we're using?
Yes. So I buy these glass trivets at the dollar store whenever I can find them. Sometimes I can't find them.
Yes, but they have them periodically.
Yes, yeah. So this is just a glass trivet, and there is a texture on one side and pure glass on the other. You can also use glass cutting boards. The other thing that I've done is I've gone to Home Depot and bought inexpensive plexiglass and taped off the edges. So why I like that is I like having something that I can see through the plate, because at times I'm even going to use this one plate to stamp on another, but that's farther down. And I have this little nifty tool that I got. This is a little fan, which is
one of those.
I know they're like $9.99, but you can't use a hairdryer on this because the gelatin will melt. But what you'll see is now I can pull this off, and those colors that I put down and the patterns that I put down will now come up, and then I have another print.
Ooh, and that's a nice color. I like that color combo you got going on.
Yeah, I'm doing.
What colors were those again?
That was the light olive green and the bright aqua green.
Pretty.
So those were both Liquitex Basics. I like Liquitex Basics because they're reasonably inexpensive, and they are what's the word I'm looking for? They're good. I mean, they're decent quality. So, and then another way that you can do it is you can just use a little bit. You can put your stencil down, and then you can roll over your stencil and pull it up, and you'll have the kind of what I would call the reverse of the stencil. So here, I'm just putting my stencil down, and sometimes I really like to use the Ranger. Ranger has a stamper. Sometimes I use a stamper for this, but what'll happen here is I can pull this up, and now I have another layer of stencil on it. And I thought I had a piece, and I don't know what I did with it. I had a background already done, but I guess I don't. I thought. I'm looking for it, and it's like, I know it's right here, wherever I put it, but right here, wherever I put it, isn't there. So I'm just going to take another print. Because I can layer these prints again and again and again, you know, just taking this print right here.
That's so cool.
Isn't that very cool?
Yeah.
But then I still have another print. And because I've just taken off that print, except for this little piece right, I'm trying to get that little piece that for some reason didn't come. Yeah, there it goes. I can put another color down and then pull this print again. So I've got this pink.
So this what you're doing right now is the ghost print, right? So
Yes.
like there's still a little bit left on the plate.
There's still a little bit left on the plate. If you look on the plate, you can see that there's a tiny bit left. So that I can take whatever color I want. I'm going to try this metallic, see what the metallic does. I can take this whatever color I want, and I can gently put it on. Oh, look, I still have some pink with this, but that's okay. See, it's always a trip to figure out what's coming up next with the gel. Because I'll forget things I forgot that I should have used the other thing. But now again, I can pull up another print. So what we're going to have is we're going to have the different colors again. You can kind of see through there all of those different colors. And I get very much more, I'm doing whole pages right here just for you guys to get the idea. But farther in the course, I'm going to teach you how to do ombres and to get more interesting colors happening. This is just kind of a, let's see how quickly we can go. And I should mention that other stamps also work, but unfortunately, like if you use stamps that are made from stamp pads, everything's going to be backwards. But later in the course, I will teach you how to get around that. But that's far down. So, okay, so now I'm pulling up. It's not quite totally 100% dry, but it's really pretty.
That is pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
I'm sorry, did I miss that? Did you use a metallic on that?
I did. I used a little bit of that light ink of gold. I love these inexpensive folk art and Americana. They last forever, and you get 2 fluid ounces for less than $2. Half the time I find them in the 99-cent bin at Walmart.
Right, and I get the deck of warts at Michael's. They're a little more expensive. They're like $1.50. That's, but as art supplies go, right? That's an
that's not very expensive. Oh, and they last forever. So now I've got this thing happening here. I'm just gonna see if I have a little bit of shine left. What happens if I just pull a little bit more on this one I already pulled? And it's, no, I'm gonna have to use some, well, I pulled off a very little bit of shine. But, and this is one of my rice paper tissue papers, which there also is this really cool secret of how you can tint the back if you want to color, but that's farther down the line. So is there anything else you want me to demo? Do you want me to demo a stamp?
Yeah, do a stamp.
Okay, so there's 2 different ways of doing a stamp. One of them would be, let's just do, I want to get something that's fairly opaque. Okay, so I'm putting a little bit of this red, and this already has a little bit of the pink in here. So I'm putting a little bit of this red here. What I'm going to show you is this is a stamp of letters, words. Okay, so I'm going to put this here. And you'll notice that it subtracts, like Laurie says, but I can put it on here because I just loaded it up, and it's going to add. Didn't add very well, did it? I think I need to use my thicker stamp. I hate when this happens. Okay, I'm using this stamp, which has thicker words, and then I'm going to put thicker words up there. So And I can see that it did it, and you will see once we put a color on it. The other thing that you can do with the stamps is I frequently have another gel plate next to me. And I will use a darker color. Well, I thought I'd use a darker color. This is a Payne's gray. And I can either load the stamp with my brayer, or I could load the stamp by pressing it in here. And then I could stamp it. So I'm just going to put lots of words on this. I have this mess here, but I'll probably pull that too. So then I can let this dry. And then I could pull it. So I make lots of stamps. So like this here, I made little hearts. Let's see if that'll pull up. Yeah, it pulls up okay. But I don't use a lot of commercial stamps. So once this dries, which doesn't take long, you have to I'd either have to put this on top of something, which I guess I could. It wouldn't show very well on that. I'd have to put it on top of here. What do we have here? Where my missing pieces of paper are? Yeah. So I could pull it right away, and then it would be just, it would pull up exactly how I stamped it. I could have let it dry. Okay, so that pulls up exactly like I stamped it. Now there's still, as Laurie says, the ghost print. So, and since I've just pulled that all up, most of the wet is gone. So I can take another color, or a lack of color. This is actually just the, this is just the Titan, or the parchment. I like the off-whites, sometimes better than the whites. And now I can put this on, and hopefully what will happen is I will be able to pull off another print that's going to have all of some writing on it. I've actually figured out a way where I can write a letter and transfer the stuff that I've written onto the plate and then pull it. So that's one of the more to comes too. There's some really cool effects that you can get. But okay, Laurie, we're gonna have to let this dry. So do you want to go?
Yeah, I sure will. I had to run and grab something off my printer. So I'm gonna do one. So while that dries, let me remove your spotlight and spotlight me.
Please do.
Out of the hot seat. Actually, what I want to do is I think I want to share my screen first and just show everyone real quick what the course looks like, and then I'll come back and I want to show you a couple of my tools that I have I
love your tools.
This is just a quick sampling. We have so many, and we're gonna in the course we're gonna talk about as many as possible ideas for creating your own tools and other things that you can use that around your house that you can use to create some really awesome and amazing things. So let me see here, make sure I have the right thing up. So give me 1 second.
You can see one of my favorite tools here. I don't know if you guys can see it up the top. It's the potato masher. It makes really cool marks.
Okay, so let me share my screen real quick for everybody. All right, so this is the sign up page for it. So if you go to Create Smart Academy, you'll see it right there on the home page. There's a little link that takes you here. And I could also put it in the comments if anybody wants it. But until Friday, the price is only $57. This class is going to regularly go for $179. So after we're done with the 8 weeks, we're going to convert it into an evergreen course. And so the beauty is if you buy in now, you're in the evergreen course. So it's actually going to go beyond 8 weeks. It's just that anybody coming in at that point will get access to all the lives we're going to do, all the pre-recorded training drops and everything, and all the projects and everything, but they're going to pay more. So until Friday, the 12th, this coming Friday, it's only $57. And we want to do that because we wanted to make sure we have a good lively group. This course is for people of all levels. If you've never even touched a gel plate, you'll still be perfectly fine in this class. It's just a really fun tool to use. It's a really fun thing to do. And once you do it, you really become addicted. But we're going to dive deep in some really cool projects that you can do with the gel prints as well. So just a glimpse of the course content. We are going to have 4 live sessions. These are the dates of the live sessions, and they are going to be a overview of the lives that, not the lives, but the course materials that have dropped up until those dates. So when you log in, when we drop on Saturday, this coming Saturday will be the first Saturday, you will have access to all this getting started, all the basics, color theory, everything that we have learned about, mixing colors on the plate, what works best, using metallics, all sorts of stuff like that. We're going to explain the viscosity and how when you want to use certain types of paints and what you can use together, and we talk about a lot of that stuff. So then and also on week 1, which is Saturday morning, will be the first drop. We're going to have some of the basics like we covered tonight, and we're going to talk about ghost prints. So this first week here, you're kind of getting an overview, kind of what you're going to get here, but we're going to go a little bit deeper, and there's also going to be a project and an assignment with week 1. Then week 2, we're going to talk about mark making. Mark making is so fun. And there's just really 1,000 ways you can do mark making. So we're going to be sharing techniques and ideas and inspirations for you to use to do mark making. And mark making is putting basically marks into the plates and that sort of, and adding and subtracting and using a variety of techniques to create marks on your prints. Week 3, we're going to go deep into layering. So you'll be able to create actual works of art by layering on the plate. And then week 4, we're going to take this stuff that we learned in week 2 mark making, we're going to take it to another level. And we're going to have a project that we will be doing with that as well. Then on week 5, we're going to talk about resist techniques. Resist techniques start to get really, really fun. We do things like etching, and we start to explore image transfers. And there's just a whole lot of things that go into creating resist, and the different things that you can do and materials that you can use that repel and resist paint, so that you can create some very interesting things using the gel plate with resist. So right around week 5, it's really going to start diving deep. And week 6, week 6 is going to be dedicated to image transfers. And I'm about to, when we're done here tonight, before we leave, I'm actually going to do an image transfer for you so you can see what that is. It's so cool. But there are multiple approaches to doing image transfers. And so we're going to be sharing all of those. Gel printing, alternative medium. So up until this point, a lot of what we're doing is with acrylic paints, but acrylic paints are not the only mediums that you can use on the gel plate. You can use alcohol inks, you can use markers, you can use pastels, sumi ink, there's all sorts of things, and then surfaces. So in addition to working on paper and tissue and that sort of thing, we're going to explore working on fabric. So that's going to be fun. The week 8, Teri is going to be teaching us the collagraph techniques. And this is where you actually put together a strategy for creating a fine art piece using the gel plate. And then along the way, we're going to be adding projects. Some of those things will be classified under inspirations. We're going to do a floral collage. We're going to do a layered landscape. We're going to do a 3D collage. We're going to do origami, gift card holders, card making, and there will probably be others that are added here as well. The other thing is we have some bonuses that will be available. We'll provide some cutout stencils and patterns that you can download. Also, when we get to doing the image transfers, you'll learn that we can do image transfers using laser printed designs. And that's actually what I'm going to show you here tonight is one of them. And you're going to have there's going to be at least 50 laser printable images that you can take and use for projects on the plate. So there's a lot of fun going to be involved in this. We also have an exclusive Facebook group. So once the 8 weeks are over, it's not really over. We'll probably be doing some lives in the Facebook group. We will also, down the line, Teri and I are planning to do a rerun of this, so another session. So you'll automatically be in the group for that. And anyone new coming into the group will not get it at $57. That is a bargain for what you're going to get, because it's going to be a fire hose of information and inspiration for creating with a gel plate. So anyway, I'm going to get back into what we're doing here. So let me spotlight me.
You're spotlighted.
Okay, I want to see so what brand is the metallic paint? Honestly, I still use the Deco Art. Deco Art has a nice metallic. And I have some Arteza metallics that are heavier body. Teri, what metallics are you using?
I use they're the folk art. This is the folk art metallics. And I use metallics I have an Amsterdam. I have some duochrome that I got from Arteza a while ago, and I use those. And I really like the Lumiere
oh yeah, those are
metallics, especially when I'm trying to use them with something fine like alcohol ink. But we'll get into, there's different kinds of metallics, and there's different, because they pull differently.
That's correct. And you'll likely have to experiment to find what you like the most.
Right. Yeah.
But we are going to do some play with metallics in the session where we do alternative mediums. So that was a good question. Yeah. All right. So I am going to spotlight me. I know you're probably ready to do your pull, right, Teri? Do you want to do that before?
I've actually pulled it.
Oh, okay.
It's right there. It's just
done. Wow, cool.
There it is.
So that's a good collage piece.
That's a great collage piece. It ended up pulling up some stuff from the last one with the gold.
The ghost print, yeah.
And it ended up with the ghost print of the yeah, it's a really great collage piece. I like some of these more neutral backgrounds for collage pieces, because sometimes you don't want everything to be high key. I love doing the really fancy high key colors, but the more subdued colors also work really well too.
Right, right, exactly.
I pulled it. I couldn't wait.
All right, and at the end, we're gonna choose a winner so one of the things that we wanted to do tonight for anybody who signed up, whether or not you're here live or not, was because some people were contacting me, saying, I can't be there live, can I watch the replay? Of course, but you had to have registered to be in the drawing for the giveaway. And the giveaway is we're going to give away a 5x7 plate, just like we're using here, plus a brayer set. So stick around at the end. We're gonna spin the wheel and find the winner for that.
Cool.
Anyway, that's exciting. So let me, for real, spotlight myself. I've almost done it a few times. All right, so a few of my just things that I like to do. These are two mark making tools that I created. I have videos on how to create all of these, but I'll tell you what they are. I use a lot of cardboard. So like I say, You wonder what you do with those Amazon boxes that come? Yeah, you cut them up and you make what I call foamies and mark making tools out of them. So I have a whole box of mark making tools. I'm not gonna get into all of them tonight, but I will in the course. This particular one here is, these are like, this is like little foamy hearts that came from, you buy them in bags of them at the, at that craft store. They're adhesive on the backside and they come in pretty much any shape you can even imagine. And you find them in the kids craft area, like at Michael's and that sort of thing. Is you take them and you just peel them off and put them onto your board. And then you have these really cool stamp tools to use. And they're a lot of fun. I do metal embossing tools. I don't have any of those here, but one of my favorite tools is this one here. Is a piece, it's literally a piece of aluminum foil wrapped around a piece of cardboard, and I even made my own little handle so I could pick straight up and down with it. But that creates some really amazing texture on the plate. And this is actually a piece of embossed paper that I picked up at Michael's, and I just attached it with double-sided tape. Actually, I might have glued this one, but you can use double-sided tape or glue to the piece of cardboard so that I can put that impression into whatever I put down. So that's one of the subtractive tools that I have. And then this one's fun. Jelly Arts actually sells something like this. But I actually had, these are cake decorating or cookie decorating tools. And actually I have a whole bunch of different ones that I can show, but this is one I pulled out and it lets me just do all kinds of little designs on the plate. So I figured I'd just do a quick pull for you here using that one. Let me just find a couple of nice colors to use together. Let's see. I'm gonna put some of this. This is Peacock Teal from Deco Arts. And I don't just use this type of craft paint. A lot of times I use this heavier body paint too. It depends on what I'm doing. But for demo purposes, this is always fun, and everyone usually has some of these. So let's mix it up. Let's go with like a deeper blue here. Use my tool here and just spread it out. I didn't intend to mix it all that way, but that's okay. And then I cleaned it again on my little paper. I always keep a piece of paper here, but you know what? I think Teri does this a lot too when she demonstrates. Is she has another plate set up over here, and she'll clean the brayer off on the other plate and then let it build up and then do a really cool pull from that. But I figured I'd use my own little. They actually sell these called art foamies, but I made my own little art foamies, and I just. Oops, push them down here like this. And let's see, let's use everything. So I can take my little cake decorating tools and put some little designs in there, subtract out some of the paint strategically. And then I can actually add some texture here with my little handy dandy tool that I made with aluminum foil. And then I can actually clean that stuff off on the paper. And so that's, while that's still wet, I can do a pull. So let me just do a first pull on that. And again, I'm just using copy paper here for this demonstration. I didn't bring out any of my deli paper. I like using the deli paper and tissue if I'm going to use collage. It's not as thick, and it's also got some transparency to it, which is usually desirable when you're doing like mixed media collage work. But I'm just making sure I make contact all the way around here. I could use my bare end, but I just use my hand here. And then I'm going to pull my print.
Nice.
Yep, so you can see all that texture I added in and all those designs I added in using my little tools there. So that's what we're going to be going kind of deep in this and using some strategy behind doing things with these tools, but that's that. The last thing I wanted to show tonight, Teri, did you have anything else that you wanted to show?
I think you wanted me to show a multi-layered print, but I'm going to put a first layer on here so it's not.
Okay, yeah, so you can go ahead and do that. I'll actually do dual screen here so that they can see us both.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit of that blue left on here, but I'm not gonna worry about it. The next thing I wanted to show you guys is, I'm just gonna do a little fun image transfer. In the course, I've created a whole lot of these printable laser prints that we can use to create image transfer. So you maybe would ask yourself, if you're not sure, what is an image transfer? So an image transfer is basically I transfer this image onto the plate and then pull it. And that there are many ways and approaches to doing that. But I'm going to show you one of them today. But in the course, there will be probably about, I think I have about 50 of these types of pages that are printable. You have to print them on a laser printer. So if you don't have a laser printer, then you can take it to a copy shop and ask them to print them on a laser printer. And but these will all be included for you to create projects with, which is a super nice one. But what happens is you end up making some really cool prints. So this is one of the images that I have. I don't have a printout of it right now, but it's a beautiful image of a rose, and you can create some really nice prints from that. Let me see if I have one of my, here we go. So you may be thinking, well, what do you do with that? Well, you could use that obviously in collage, but if you're strategic about it, you can actually create pieces of art with it. Like that. And so this was a bad experiment that I did there. But so I want to do a little demonstration of how you do that. I'm trying to look and see if I like, these are some that I did in the last session that I did. And then we did some subtractive and stuff with using botanicals and leaves, which we're going to also do in the course. We have videos on that, which is fun. And so I think I'll just do a pull right now and show you how that works. Now this process takes practice, but there are some very specific things that you have to do to make it work correctly. And I will go into that in the course, but also will explain some of it here for you tonight. Let's see. So I'm going to use my black brayer. So I use notice I use the heavier body acrylic. I like to use that when I do my image transfers, and I like to use a darker color. Most of the time I will use black. Sometimes I use white if I want to have like a white image on top of something. I use quinacridone magenta. I like that effect. So what I do is I have this printout. This is printed on laser. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this horse and lay it down on top of this wet paint. And I'm just very lightly going to run my finger across. Very, very light touch. And then I'm going to pull back. And it leaves an impression of the horse. This one actually isn't the best impression, but it works. And then what I can do is I can come in with a wet piece of paper towel and clean up, or I'll do that a little bit around here, and clean up around it in the areas that sometimes you get a cleaner pull than others. And I just want to be able to show you guys that when we pull this, what this will look like. And this takes practice. And then I let it dry for just a second. It doesn't take very long at all. And then I put a lighter color on it. You don't usually want to use a darker color paint, but notice viscosity wise, I use a more fluid paint. So I put the image down with my heavier body, and then I'm going to go over the top of it with this more fluid paint, because I find that works best. And then I am going to put my paper down to do the pull. And I like to let this sit a little bit longer. So we're going to let that sit just a little bit. Might be a good chance to get the brayer out, make sure that it's all down.
Mm.
Then we can do our pool, and it pulls the horse. This wasn't my best example of it, but you kind of get the picture. And so this gets to be kind of fun, and you can create some really nice artwork. For instance, this is a tree that I did on like
Love that.
really cool paper. I forget what this isn't mulberry paper. It's I'm not even sure what kind it is, but you can kind of see that when you do these image transfers, that's a piece of art right there. So it gets to be, that can get to be pretty fun to do. All right. I will try one more horse real quick. Because just to show you that sometimes the more you do it too, the better you get at it, but not always are you going to get a perfect pull, and it does take some practice.
Well, and I think it takes you to warm, for me, I find that warming up the plate, if you had done 2 or 3 pulls before you ever started, it gets more successful. And I don't know why. It's like the plate needs to be conditioned.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be the right whatever.
Yeah. And there's so many factors that go into it too, like humidity and that sort of thing. This one's a little bit better.
Yeah, very much better.
And then I could take, let's see, do I have my cotton swabs? Yeah. So a lot of times I'll take a cotton swab and clean up around the edges. So, so that I have a better contrast. And sometimes I have to actually wet the cotton swab to get everything to come up like I want it to. But you can use cotton swabs to create texture too, which isn't kind of neat. And this is already drying on the plate, so that's okay. So earlier on, I created, let me find one of my prints that I have here. I created a print. What I'm going to do is kind of show you a layering and what it looks like to layer. Finding one of my prints that I have here. It's just a simple pull. Here we go. This is the first one I did. So what you notice here is that this is already dry. This is not going to pull. If the medium on the plate is dry, it will not pull up. It has to be wet, pull it. And so you may be thinking, oh no, it dried up. What do I do? You can always put like a solid color over it and pull it. But if you're using a background and you want to impress it onto a background like this one, what you can do is use a medium. So I actually have a gloss medium and a matte medium. I will use my matte medium. I'm going to put a little bit down, just a dab is all I need. And I am going to take my brayer and just spread it over the top. So this is wetting. Wetting it, and now I take my image or my background that I had created, and I'm going to put it right back down. And because it's going on an already painted background, we let it sit a little bit longer.
Yeah.
And let it just kind of do its thing, bring out my brayer to get, I keep saying brayer, but I mean Baron. The Baron actually helps me distribute the pressure in a wider area. So I just take it and I kind of just go in circles. Because when I use copy paper like this, sometimes if there's too much wetness down, that the paper starts to curl and wrinkle. And sometimes that's okay, but it also can create creases and undesired results in your paper. So the Baron helps me actually keep that from happening. All right, so let's pull that up.
Oh, very nice, Laurie.
Yeah, so that turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna be doing a lot of exploring with image transfers. That's a really fun thing to do with your gel plates. All right, so Terry, did you have,
Well, I just put a
you're just
couple,
playing, okay.
I put a couple of faint layers on here. Am I on? The
Yeah,
screen?
you're on.
Oh, okay, because on mine, I don't see it. Oh, yeah, no, I see you.
Okay, I'll spotlight you then.
Right, glad to see you.
Okay.
Well, somehow or another, I'm just seeing, there we go. Okay, so I ended up doing a ghost print of a print. So you can see this is the print I pulled, and there ended up being a ghost print underneath of it. And then I went and I used a stencil to just ghost some more colors in there. And so I've got a kind of a variety of different things happening in here. And so now all of this is basically dry. So like Laurie said, if it's dry, we can then pull something from it. So I can take, I do like that blue. I'm going to put a little bit of two different colors on. I've got this blue, and I'm going to do the blue green again. But this hopefully will look a little funky because I got way too much of that on. So that's, Laurie was talking about how I keep I have a thing here that I can just throw the extra.
So you have a secondary gel plate sitting next to you.
Secondary, right. I have kind of a junk gel plate, and it's going to become whatever it becomes.
And that's always fun to use for a journal. So like have yourself a little journal next to you so you can create a bunch of backgrounds in an art journal.
Yeah, it is. It's really fun to do with it. I got to get that down there. So now I have this, and I could do choices. I can actually still put more texture in it because I have a lot of different layers now on this. I've got a couple. When you look at it, when you look through it, you're going to see there's a black layer, and there's some green, and there's some different colors. So I could put more texture in it should I choose. I could put a stamp. This is a foamy stamp like Laurie's. I could put a little stamp in it. This one, I didn't put any stamp color on it, but I just want to have it kind of look. This is just kind of going to be a funky little print. Now I could, if I want, put it over another print, but I don't think so. I'm looking, and if I am looking to pull what I call a heavier print, and this has got 3 layers of paint on it. I like to use, this is a rice paper that I really love to use. Number one, because it collages really well. And I will give you the supplies. This is the Yosemite, but I don't use it for everything, but I do like using it. And it also will literally usually clean off the plate. It sucks up. I don't know what it does, but it really does suck up all of the different layers that I have on there. And I mean, there have been times, this is not a really heavily layered piece, because I sometimes really super layer them, but I'm hoping, yeah, see how this rice paper just sucks it up? Look at all,
Cool. That's cool.
Isn't that, it's just wonderful.
That's the sumi paper, right?
Yeah, that's assuming that's the the sketch pad, Yosemite. It's the sketch paper. It's not the other stuff that I was using, that some of the tissue I was using was a sumi paper. This is the sketch paper.
Okay.
And it's a heavier, it's fairly heavy. But yeah, I have done calligraphy on it. But what I love is how, I mean, look, I had the black layer, and then I have some of that green layer, and then I have 2 different colors. And then we have the stamps that came in and changed things.
That's
And
beautiful.
it's just, so this is how you start to get, and I could have gone more layers with this, but this is how you start to get those fabulous people saying, how did you do that? And it was just basically letting stuff being left on the plate. And then the only thing that's really left is there's a little tiny bit of paint up here that was left on the plate. And that's because it was a little thick. So, and we'll be getting into how to do these and do them more deliberate later. But I just love it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's very spontaneous, and you can build up with it. So like you could come on top of that and with Posca pens and markers and that sort of things, and create these really wonderful abstract little works of art.
Yes.
And then you scan them, and then you can blow them up larger. I mean, there's so many opportunities.
Well, another thing that I frequently do, I don't know if I have my piece right here to show you. I may not if I don't. What I frequently do will end up taking something, put a mask on here. Like I would put this, I'd put a color down here, and then I'd put this mask on like this. I mean, I can show you, I guess, because is it dry? So let's say I want to just make a piece of art out of this. Okay, so I'm just going to take a fairly neutral color. This is a white or off-white. And then what I'll do is I'll put this down, and it's okay that top's going to do that kind of funky thing. And I'm just going to, I've got too much here, so I'm going to have to put more on there. Yeah, I sometimes get a little carried away because you don't really want too much because it takes forever to dry.
Notice what she's doing there is because she put too much, she's brayering it off.
Right. And I'm putting
it to lift off some of it.
Right. I'm putting it on the piece of paper over here. So now I've got this cute little bird shape that I've done. And as you can see, I've used it before, obviously, because it's all covered with different paint. So now I've masked this off, and I usually have a register when I'm doing this kind of stuff, but I'm going to try to see how well I can register this.
Yeah, I have a printable register that's going to be available in the resources.
Good. Yeah, because
so you can use it underneath, and basically a printable register is just like a grid that's printed out that will match up, and then you can you can use it to guide and when you're doing layers and you want to be exact on the positioning. It's a positioning tool. No, Jelly Art sells a nice positioning tool, but
yeah, but if
you don't have that, you can just print out the grid and use it.
Yeah, I usually have a grid underneath of this, but I cleaned this off and didn't put the grid back on. Okay, so now again, this is that really nice heavy paper. So what it's doing is allowing this to come up. And so now this is what
cool.
Isn't that cool?
I love it.
So that's one of the other kind of techniques we'll be showing you, but it's how you can make this just really kind of be yours. And I could put another layer of stuff on top of that too, and I might put a little layer of leaves in it. So
and when you pull that up, you can make the negative.
Right. And that's exactly where I was going for. So now this is going to be white, right? So what do I have here that I could, well, I don't know if that's going to work. I'm looking for a background that I can put that on. What happens here? This is a really funky background. I don't know how it's going to work, but let's put some of this on. And so now I should have the bird in the white on top of this. Oh, I just got Well, it wasn't the best thing to do because it was too light down there. Should have had a lighter one. So,
I think you get the idea. I think that's
yeah. Yeah, I should have had a very dark background to put that on. And then there's still stuff there that I may pull off.
right.
Just
Exactly.
Just like right here, I might decide, I don't know what's under there, but again, it's wet. It's still wet, so it might pull off something. When you have lots of layers, you have to let it sit for, oh, look at all of that.
That's gonna look cool.
Yeah, you have to let it sit for a minute so that all of the moisture can go down into all of the layers of the acrylic. So that's kind of why, and you can kind of feel it with your hand. If it's really cold, you don't want to pull it yet, because if it's really cold, it means it's still wet. And see, when I start pulling this, can you see where that's not coming up? Now that might just be that area had also dried, because this was one that was just sitting there. I think that is
what that looks like what's going on, but look how cool that is.
But look how cool this is. Yeah.
That's pretty. Those colors are amazing.
And then I could, if I wanted to get it perfect, I could put another thing of matte medium on it and re-register it, and it would pull this. But the problem with this is it's dry. I had let it just get too dry. But I love all of that, whatever.
It looks like you did it on deli paper, right?
I did it on deli. Now, this is actually the other calligraphy paper.
Okay.
Because it's only shiny on one side.
Okay, good. That's
and
cool.
You put it on the shiny side, but that's what you call was the shiny side.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as I said, I'm in the middle of painting a big painting with collage. So I'm kind of cheating and getting some of my colors done.
You're multitasking tonight.
I am multitasking tonight. So I got my leaves and I got some flowers and stuff.
All right. Well, I'm going to, so I think that's a good like overview and like sneak peek of what we're going to be doing. I am going to actually draw the winner now.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to share my screen and we're going to do it together in real time.
Oh, excellent.
So there's just one caveat. If you win and you're not located in the United States, I'll instead of the gel plate and embreers, you will get an Amazon gift card to cover it. So you can order it on your own terms or whatever else you might need supply wise.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, just shipping outside the United States has gotten insane. So that is a good way for us to work it. So anyway, let me share my screen and let's choose a winner. Are we ready?
Click to spin. Oh, look at all those people that signed up.
I know.
Let's go.
And the winner is Susan Silverman. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, congratulations, Susan. I will reach out to you and we'll get your information so we can get you your prize. So for everyone else, let me stop the share. Thanks for joining us tonight. We hope you'll join us for the course. We do plan to have a lot of fun with it, and we will plan to get to know everyone too. And so likely we'll probably be doing more lives than we actually have on the schedule, but they may be like after the 8 weeks are up, because we will have